Hello, this is Mrs. Jackson. This is Chapter 1, Section 1, Part 3. And in this video, we're going to quickly review how to write inequality statements and graph them on a single variable number line. This is a foundational skill that you learned in Algebra 1, and we're going to use it on a two-variable coordinate plane to describe intervals of our functions going forward. Okay, so I have 4 examples here. The first example, we have some values graphed. We're going to call them X because this is a horizontal real number line. So we've got numbers that begin at +2 and are going on infinitely smaller than +2. And we know it's infinite because it's shown here with an arrow. So that means it'll continue towards negative infinity. Okay, first thing to note on this example is that the 2 here has an open circle. It is not filled in. We call that an open. And that's meant to show us that we can approach 2, in other words, 1.999, but we cannot be equal to 2. So I'm going to write a not equal to symbol here. So we have values x that are less than +2, but not equal to 2. Okay, next example. This time we have a closed circle at -4, and we're graphing all of the values of x that are larger or bigger than -4. So if we were to write this inequality statement, we would call this closed, and a closed circle is meant to indicate equal to, so we can be exactly equal to -4. So we would write that as x is greater than or equal to -4. Okay, the next 2 examples are graphing a finite set of numbers as shown with a beginning and an end here. The first thing to note is that we have closed on this end and open here. So we're graphing all the numbers that are larger than -5 and at the same time less than 2. The first thing to note is this is called a compound inequality. And it's a compound because, just like a compound sentence, we're bringing 2 inequalities together with a conjunction. And in math, inequalities only use 2 different conjunctions, either the word and or. And this particular one is an and. So we can write this as 2 separate sentences. So x is greater than or equal to -5, and x is less than 2. The way we bring those 2 sentences together to form a compound inequality is we would put the maximum on the right, so we have x less than 2. And then you could see here the opening of the inequality symbol is open towards the x. That means x is the greater quantity and -5 is the smaller quantity. So we would have to flip that opening towards the x here and put the -5 here. So a compound inequality will have the min on the left and the maximum on the right. All right, so final example here, we have numbers being graphed between 1 and 2. And so, and we've got closed and closed, so we've got x greater than or equal to 1, and x is less than or equal to 2. Bring that together as a compound. The max would be on the right, and we'll flip that symbol, and the minimum will be on the left. Okay, so that's a review of how to graph and write inequality statements.